Aubrey. How's it going today? How you
I'm great.
doing?
How are you, Lindsay?
Good, but I have a burning question for you here.
Oh,
You ready?
okay. Let's hear it.
Have you ever gone cliff jumping?
Oh, yes. I used to go a lot as a teenager.
You are crazy. What's the highest you've jumped from?
Oh, probably about 30 feet, which I'm sure a lot of people have jumped from higher, but for me, that was very high. It was scary. It
30
was,
feet.
and we were, foolish teenagers and we hadn't like checked the water to make sure there weren't rocks. So I remember being scared about that too. Like, oh, what if I
Yes.
hit a rock? But I also didn't want to be the lame one that's like, can I go down and check the depth of the water?
Oh my gosh, exactly. Right. So it's kind of a peer pressure thing a little bit,
Yeah.
right? You just
Yeah.
kind of go along with it. Oh,
Oh,
scary,
you guys
scary,
will notice
scary.
we used this phrasal verb jump from to like, oh, what's the highest you've jumped from? We got a
Mhm.
great question about phrasal verbs, jump from, jump off, that we are going to answer today. Phrasal verbs are tricky.
Yeah, and they are one of the things, especially the tougher phrasal verbs. These are the
Yeah.
things that move you from the B2 to the C1 level. And I have a feeling, Aubrey, a lot of our listeners are thinking about making that move up into C1. What do you think?
Absolutely. We just launched our C1 fluency course. So if you want to get in there, it's allearsenglish.com/C1. I agree. Those of you who are listening, you're understanding 80-90% of what we're saying. You are ready to move to that C1 level.
Exactly. And not to mention that now, when you're in our courses, I mean, we've just launched even more new ways to connect and practice. We just launched a chat corner. Right, where students can
Yes.
talk to each other and practice and chat. We are launching student-run speaking groups. We have fluency parties, open conversation club, weekly Q&A. I mean, it's just piling up, Aubrey. The ways our students can speak, but only if they're in our courses.
Exactly. We want to host and create all of these events for you guys to practice speaking. We know sometimes it's hard to find speaking partners. It's hard to get that speaking practice. So when you are a student in one of our courses, we are creating these opportunities for you.
You got it. So go to allearsenglish.com/C1. You can still get that course. It's brand new. You want to get in now. So, Aubrey, would you read Mateos's question for us?
Yes, he said, "Hey there, what's the difference between off versus from? Like jump from versus jump off? Thank you so much. Love the show, Mateus."
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah,
Exciting.
great question. Unfortunately, we have some bad news for Mateus, which I already emailed him back.
Oh, no.
That unfortunately, with prepositions in English, with these phrasal verbs, the meaning is not consistent for one preposition. When it's added to a verb, it's different for every phrasal verb, right?
I mean, language is not any kind of mathematical equation or a memorization exercise, right? We're
No,
done with
unfortunately.
memorizing things in English. We
Mhm.
are into learning in context here, right?
Right. So when you add from, for example, the phrasal verbs made from, came from, jump from, these all have very different meanings. You can't tell from the actual words what they're going to mean. A lot of phrasal verbs are idiomatic.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're going to get into it. Don't panic, guys. That's the bad news, but the rest of the episode is the good news. Good news, because we're going to make it very clear what the differences are between these two phrasal verbs here. But first, Aubrey, I do want to call out one of our amazing listeners. Mo in Michigan 21 is the username, from Japan, who left us a 5-star review just a few days ago on October 21st. Aubrey, how do you feel when you read these reviews? It's amazing,
I
right?
love checking these reviews. Thank you,
Yes.
Mo, for sending this review and everyone who has left us a review. It is very exciting for us to know that what we're doing is helpful for you guys. So thank you for every 5-star review. Leave us a review, guys. We love them.
Yeah, guys, anywhere you're listening, whether you're in the iOS, Android app, Spotify, listening to the podcast, Apple Podcast, YouTube, leave a comment, leave a review, let us know what you think so we can see it and we'll pass it on to our team. It keeps us going. Okay.
Absolutely. Love it.
Yes. Okay. We're ready, Aubrey. Let's dive in.
Yeah, so we're going to dive into these two Mateus asked about jump from and jump off. So first, let's start with jump off. These are different, but it is pretty subtle. Jump off is you are leaping from a platform of some kind. So the destination is not as important as the place you're leaving. For example, he jumped off the roof.
Okay. Yes. So say that one more time. The destination is not as important as the place you're leaving. Is that what you're
Exactly. When
Okay.
we say jump off, it's more like what are we leaving? What are we
Mhm.
jumping off of, right? So these are
Mm.
pretty subtle. The difference, this is one way to remember when you would use jump off instead of jump from. You're not at all focused about what you're jumping to. It's more about what you're leaving. What are you jumping
Mm.
off?
Okay, so jump off and that object, whatever that is. So he jumped off the roof. Or
Yeah.
I don't dare jump off that cliff. It's too high.
Exactly. So this is interesting. And then if there's no platform, we would say jump out instead, right? He jumped
Mm.
out of the tree. You would never say you jumped off a tree because there's no platform. This is really an
Mm.
interesting. I actually had to Google these, like, what is why? And then,
That's
okay, it's all about
interesting.
the platform when we're
It's
jumping off
all
something.
about the platform. Okay. Yeah. Any other sample sentences here that would help?
Yeah. So, and then for jump out, she jumped out of the dark, right? We wouldn't say she jumped off the dark. There's no platform here. So we're jumping out of things where there's no platform. And then the cat jumped off the roof, right? She jumped off the third floor. Who knows, right?
Those are the
Anything where there's a
platforms, right?
platform, we would say someone jumps off that platform.
Got it. Okay. So jump off plus platform where
Right.
you were
Exactly. And
before.
what we want to
Okay.
think about is this now we're going to move to jump from. We use
Hmm.
jump from when we are still jumping off something, but it's more about what you're jumping onto. You're jumping off something onto
Ah,
something else.
okay. So it's a subtle difference, but the meaning is slightly different, right? So, for example, the squirrel jumped from branch to branch. So it's about the squirrel's journey across these branches. It's not about where he
Exactly.
came from, what platform he came from.
Right. So you could say, oh, the squirrel jumped off the branch because then we're not at all
Yep.
concerned about where he's going. But if we're
Hmm.
talking about he's moving to something else, we'll say from branch to branch. We also use this metaphorically a lot, right? Oh, we've jumped from topic to topic a lot during this conversation.
Yes, which is what usually happens in conversations. Normal conversations, we do tend to jump around a lot. And there's another one, jump around. We won't go
Yes.
into that one today.
I
That's
know there
okay.
are with every preposition, there's a different meaning, right? But at the top of the episode, Lindsay asked me what's the highest I've jumped from. And this is
Hmm.
an interesting use of jumped from, where we're talking about the height, right? But it's still sort of about the destination. You've jumped from a cliff, but we're thinking like you've jumped from a cliff into the water. So we use jumped from whenever the destination matters.
Oh, okay. Is there going to be a part two of this episode, Aubrey?
Yes, glad you asked. On the Business English podcast, I'm planning a follow up with a lot of the phrasal verbs we use with jump in business at work. Jump at, jump out at, and jump on. We use these a
Excellent.
lot at work when we're talking about things that we notice, things that draw our interest. So be sure to hit follow on the Business English podcast so that you don't miss part two.
Oh, I'm excited for that one. Well, let's dive into a role play, Aubrey. And here we are at your house. All right.
Yes. Do you want to
Here
start
we
us out?
All right. Oh, I didn't know you have a cat.
Yep. This is Sammy. He likes to jump from the chairs to the couch.
What's the highest he jumps from?
Oh, he jumped off our armoire, and that's about 10 feet high.
Oh, wow.
I bet he'd jump off the roof if he got stuck up there.
I'm asking, is he going to jump onto me? Like,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Will he
Trying to
jump
figure out what
onto
this cat
me?
can do.
Exactly. Right. I don't actually have a cat, but it's interesting when we're thinking about jump off, jump from, that's pretty specific situations, right? So I'm like, this is going to be easier to talk about a cat. Often when we're talking about something jumping from thing to thing, jump off, maybe children jumping
Yeah.
from your furniture, animals. This is when we talk about it the most, really.
I love it. So let's break this down. So I said, "Oh, I didn't know you have a cat." And you said, "Yep, this is Sammy. He likes to jump from the chairs to the couch." Nice.
Exactly. And I could have said, oh, he likes to jump off the chairs or he likes to jump onto the chairs. But when I'm talking about the destination from one place to the next, then
Mm.
would say jump from. He likes to jump from the
From the
chairs
chairs
to
to
the
the couch.
couch.
And just go back to the example of the monkey, right? Or was it a monkey or a chipmunk or
A
something?
squirrel.
So, a
But yeah,
squirrel. Okay.
or a
In my
monkey
mind, it was a
jumping
monkey
from
for some
branch to
reason.
branch.
From branch to branch. It's like a journey, right? Jumping from
Exactly.
here to there.
Yep.
Yes.
And then you said, what's the highest he jumps from? So when
Hmm.
we're talking about the height, then we're using from as well. I said, and then I said he jumped
Yeah.
off our armoire.
Oh, wow. It's about 10 feet high. Cats can jump down pretty well and be fine.
It's
It's
true. It's
interesting.
amazing. They just land on
Yeah.
their feet and
No,
run
it's
away.
amazing. I know.
I wish I
And
could
th
do that.
I know. And then you said, "I bet he'd jump off the roof if he got stuck up there." Right? Okay,
Absolutely. Have
and
you
that
ever jumped off a roof, Lindsay?
uh, can't say I have. Aubrey, have you done that too? Are we learning a lot about your
So
past
in
here?
Idaho, there was a lot of snow. There were big snow drifts. So in the winter, we would jump off the roof into the snow drift.
That's fun, yeah,
But I
for
also had to we our roof wasn't that high, it was a single story, and we would play this game where we would throw a ball over the roof, and sometimes it would get stuck behind the chimney, so we would have to climb up
Oh.
there and then jump off the roof after.
Oh, that's so funny, yeah,
I'm
no.
surprised I didn't break more limbs as a
I
child.
know, you're lucky, you got away
Yeah,
with a lot as a kid.
right.
Wow.
So this is interesting. We actually did an episode not long ago about phrasal verbs 2107 right here on All
Mhm.
Ears English. Check out these English phrasal verbs. We have talked about phrasal verbs a lot because just like you said, Lindsay, these are really a way to up level your English level, to move from
Yeah.
B2 to C1.
Mhm.
Often native English speakers won't use the regular verb. They get more creative and more informal with phrasal verbs.
Yes, I love that. You gotta master these phrasal verbs really when you get to that C1 level. It's the time to make sure we know them. We're integrating them smoothly into our conversations to convey the meaning we want to really say, exactly what we want to say. There's a lot
Yes.
of cases where there's no other word except for that phrasal verb to convey exactly what you're trying to say. Right?
Yes, exactly, especially where a lot of them are idiomatic. You can't tell
Mhm.
from the actual words what suddenly it means something totally different, right? So
Yes.
we want you guys to know that, the difference between jump off, jump on, to use it to sound more native and natural. It's subtle
Yeah,
nuances
subtle.
often
Mhm.
between these phrasal verbs.
Yeah, but these are the differences. Once you learn these, if you're at the right level, guys, commit to this because once you learn, it will build your confidence, right?
Absolutely.
And that's how we move up into that C1 level. So, Aubrey, thanks for being on and telling us your stories of jumping off tall things,
Yeah, no
high
problem.
things. All right. We'll see you on the next episode. Have a good one.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay. See you
All
next
right.
time.
Bye.
Bye.